I picked LSU going into this game against Ole Miss, which I knew would be tough, competitive, hard-nosed, down to the wire, and it was. It was a great football game. Lane Kiffin came out on top, and the reason that I picked LSU is I felt like Trinidad Chambliss was more of a great story than he was a great player, and he's going up against LSU's defense. He is a great story. Present tense story is still being written. Ole Miss 24, LSU 19. It's not a bad defensive performance from the Tigers in this one. Secondary got a little handsy with the pass interference calls at times, and I thought they were correctly called, by the way. It just wasn't their best game. Quite frankly, I don't think this is a season ender, a disaster, horrible, no good, very bad outcome for LSU. I think this says more about Ole Miss. And there are problems with LSU that I will get to in just a moment. But for Lane Kiffin to have Trinidad Chambliss, who was playing at Division II Ferris State, come up into the SEC and go be a good quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier was on the field. I was high on Nussmeier coming into the year. I was high on Cade Klubnik coming into the year. Apparently, I gave those two guys' careers the kiss of death at the moment because it looks like they are falling off considerably. And I'll get to LSU. But Ole Miss, imagine saying this sentence out loud before the year. Can you imagine the comments you would have gotten from an LSU fan if you'd said this? But this was 100% true on Saturday. LSU is going to have a healthy Garrett Nussmeier, and he's going to be the second best quarterback on the field to a Division II transfer. That's not just what the QBR said from this game. That's what your eyes told you when you watched this game. Chambliss goes 23 of 39 for 314 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Ole Miss ran for just 166 yards. Not bad. Not bad. Q and Lacey is a good back, hard to tackle, and LSU also forced a fumble inside the 5, or the Rebels might have eclipsed 30 points in this game. I'm still bullish on LSU's defense. I'm just that impressed with Ole Miss's offense. This is the Indiana-Illinois debate, where Illinois gets beaten really badly by Indiana. And I said, no. This says more about Indiana because they're really good or capable of being really good. Illinois is still a good team. Picked Illinois to beat USC. What do you know? They beat the Trojans with a walk-off field goal. Again, I talked about that on Saturday. So for Chambliss to be in this spot speaks to Lane Kiffin and why he should be the next head coach of the University of Florida. Do you want to keep DJ Lagway around once you move on from Billy Napier? If you do, then Lane Kiffin's track record with quarterbacks here is really good. And whether Austin Simmons is healthy or not, I don't frankly care. I talked to Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss on the show last week and said, look, is Austin Simmons going to play, number one? And number two, does it even matter? We have our answer now. The answer is no. It does not matter. If Chambliss were to get dinged up and Simmons comes back in, Ole Miss will be fine. They've got two guys they can win with. I'd roll with Chambliss. The vibes are pretty good. Ole Miss is 5-0. And again, when I release my top 25 later this week, Ole Miss going to be very high because their resume with this win over LSU, mighty impressive. I am not that down on LSU. I am, however, down on LSU's offense. Brian Kelly has a problem. And the problem is that he cannot align good coordinator hires at the same time. Because Mike Denbrock was the OC for Jaden Daniels. He's now over at Notre Dame. CJ Carr, oh, look at that. The Notre Dame starting quarterback put up 56 points on the road at Arkansas this week. Talk about that later because he helped get Sam Pittman fired. And he's really good. He's a redshirt freshman. He's lighting the world on fire. Meanwhile, Garrett Nussmeier can't hit 200 yards passing against Ole Miss. And I know the Rebels have talent on that side of the ball. They had a good offseason. They went out in the transfer portal and added some real players. Garrett Nussmeier is a once projected first-round quarterback that is just playing himself out of that. And we are now almost to the midway point of the college football regular season, which makes me very sad, frankly, but that's the way that it goes. It's been fun. It will continue to be fun. But LSU's offense through their first 5 games. Remember when Brian Kelly got all upset? And I understand they beat Florida 20-10, and the first question is about why the offense wasn't better. Here's why the question is getting asked, Coach Kelly. Here's why the question was asked. Was it incorrectly ordered? Yes. Should you also have had a better kind of deflecting response to it? Yeah, but that's not the way Brian Kelly's wired. LSU's offense this year, 17, 23, 20, 56, that's against Southeast Louisiana, and 19. I heard discussion about this LSU wide receiver room being the best that it's been in years. You have a veteran quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier that I know can make NFL throws all over the field. Why is it this hard? One running back, I know Caden Durham's good. You're LSU. You shouldn't be completely incapable of running the ball, which they were, again, 57 yards against this Ole Miss defense. You shouldn't be completely incapable because a running back isn't there. You might. It's okay if you have a little drop-off. It's not okay to just become completely defunct on that side of the ball because you can't run it, and now your quarterback just looks like he's taking steps back. That's for a number of reasons. That is completely and utterly not okay. And so Brian Kelly has a problem. He cannot align good coordinator hires. Blake Baker, very good. Mike Denbrock, very good. They coached together at the same time at LSU for 0 seasons. 0. That's a problem. The offense has to get fixed. And I talked about that going into this game that, look, if you're an LSU fan, I suppose you'd rather have the offense be the problem than the defense. But the offense is a problem. There's no other way to see it. They play South Carolina at home this week. Yeah, South Carolina gave up, how many points was it to Vanderbilt? Let me just double check that here because we want to be accurate here on the show. Yes, Vanderbilt in Columbia, South Carolina put up 31 points. If LSU does not hit 31 points this week, let's continue asking questions about the LSU offense. So speaking of questions, Kalen DeBoer in Alabama got a good vibes win. By the way, for Ole Miss, highest of vibes. LSU, no vibes. No vibes. It's disappointing to lose, but all right. We got to fix this going forward. You know what? No, I'm going to adjust that down. That's bad vibes. Bad vibes for LSU because the offense continues to look poor. For Alabama, I'm so tempted to give Alabama's win over Georgia no vibes. I can't because they snapped Georgia's home winning streak. So good vibes, but in no way did I consider the highest vibes for how Alabama fans should be feeling right now. I did not consider it for a single solitary moment when I thought about, what am I going? I was between no vibes and good vibes. I'll give you good. Road win, SEC, save the at-large playoff hopes. Okay, that's all really good stuff. Ty Simpson continues to look good throwing the ball. I mean, he's got weapons like Caden Proctor to throw the ball to. So, how can he not succeed, frankly, in that sort of offense? But did Alabama win this game or did Georgia lose it? I felt like Georgia lost this game more than Alabama won it. Now, credit to the Crimson Tide that they should feel good about the fact they were in a position to where it's that small of a margin. It's like when you get a bad call that goes your way, you say, well, you want to put yourselves in a position like this because sometimes this stuff goes your way or a crazy bounce. Think back to, was it Chad Kelly, the quarterback maybe, or Bo Wallace for Ole Miss that threw that wild pass that hit off a receiver's head and bounced in the air, and then it was a crazy carom, and Ole Miss ran for a long touchdown and upset Alabama in Tuscaloosa. That was many, many years ago. I remember that vividly. And sometimes that stuff can happen, but you've got to be good enough to put yourself in that spot. Alabama was good enough to put themselves in that position. I'm still wondering how sustainable this all is. I'm going to get to that more tomorrow on the pod, but I think Alabama should feel good. I don't think they should feel great. I don't think this is Alabama is fixed and, oh my gosh, I think Georgia just shot themselves in the foot, stepped on the cartoon rake, and whacked themselves in the forehead too many times. Literally dropped the go-ahead touchdown just when we thought we were past that. Right, Georgia? So, anyway, thoughts from around the SEC.